Gogan Cassius iFL TV here in Hammersmith. With me I've got Paddy Fitzpatrick. How are you, Paddy?
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, you're alright. You want to try and do my accent now, Paddy?
I'm going to end up sounding like
just try and do a Cockney accent if you can, Paddy. What would be your first two words in Cockney?
Don't know. Cheeky little monkey.
We'll go back to normal now.
Go back to normal.
Gogan Cassius iFL TV. Paddy Fitzpatrick.
You cool?
How are you?
Yeah, man, very cool.
I just said you caught the sun somewhere. You've been on holiday?
No, I just kept a little bit from Big Bear.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. It's been nice over here too, and so.
You look well. You look very well.
Very good.
This is a boring question, but how has the camp been this time round?
Same as the last ones, man. We've had no complaints, no excuses or complaints from the last one. So, same preparation this time. We're fully ready to go, same way as we were last time. Fully ready to go.
Christopher REBRASSE stands in the way of George and a potential world title shot.
Yeah.
What do you think of him as a fighter? How much of him have you seen?
He's like a super middleweight Ricky Burns. You know, he's that similar type of style. He's very busy. He's got an attitude about him. You know, he went over to Italy to win his title and bit of trash talking the opponent at the end of the first round. You know, so he don't mind. He's game, busy. Not necessarily the biggest puncher in the world, but that doesn't mean you can disrespect it. There's you've got to be switched on for it.
Since last November, or even before that, has it been a grueling year for you? Because since last November up until now, said the whole George Groves story has been dominated by the Carl Froch situation. You've come away from that now, so was there a kind of a small sense of relief to leave that behind and concentrate on George's new direction? It's been a weird year. Obviously we had 9 weeks to get ready for the first one. We had full camp for the second one, but that complete, say, 8 months, our first 8 months was all about Carl Froch. Obviously now we've moved on from that and we've got to prepare for REBRASSE, but we feel that we've made a lot of progress as a team, but we still don't have no results to show for it. So the pressure is on all of us. Every one of us are hungry now for a win. When this fight was announced, it was announced that George Groves would be going the WBC route. At the time, Sakio Bika held that title. It's now changed hands to Anthony DIRRELL.
Yeah.
I know you're not looking ahead of that fight, but I'm just talking a little bit ahead of that fight. Yeah. Has that altered the route you would have gone down either way of this fight, or not really at all? That DIRRELL has the belt now rather than Bika.
So would we have gone on a different route? Yeah,
say if DIRRELL had held the belt previously to Sakio Bika, would you have still gone that route? Yeah, would you still go that WBC?
You'd have to go over that with George and Sauerlands. As far as I'm concerned, either one. I think even financially, I think DIRRELL is probably a better fight financially. I'd prefer DIRRELL over Bika anyway. Bika's a hard night's work for anybody with no real reward at the end of it. He's just a hard night's work. He doesn't necessarily bring money to the table. He just brings a hard night's work. He gave Joe Calzaghe a hard night, and he's a supreme boxer. So if you get into the wrong situation with him, you're in for a long night. So I'd actually prefer DIRRELL. Just to answer your question, talking ahead, but I'm not even thinking ahead of that. I'm not thinking past this Saturday night. Can't afford to in any way.
I did say that I know you're not looking. I'm just asking from a question point of view.
Yeah, from a question point of view. Yeah, I just said, DIRRELL makes for even a better looking fight, doesn't he?
I don't know if you know, but I spoke to Anthony DIRRELL on Saturday night after the Mayweather Maidana fight. Do you know that I spoke to him or not?
Yes, yeah. Somebody.
Yeah, and he didn't have the greatest things to say about A, George's opponent, and then B, as in regards to whether George deserves a shot at the title or not. I did try to explain that it's a mandatory challenge. He will become a mandatory challenger if he was to win, since regardless of whether someone deserves a shot or not. But he was adamant that George wouldn't be getting a shot at his title. So I think maybe that's just his own conclusion to the events. But
well, everyone can. I mean, Carl Froch sat in ringside on a Thursday night and said that he's not going to fight George because he can't get up for it, and on a Friday he was mandated to fight George. So they can all say what they want. If he gets a mandatory position, he's going to fight him or give up his new belt, isn't he?
Mentally, how is George?
Mentally, George is cool. He's same as all of us, a little bit frustrated because we're wanting the success as well as the progress. Like I said, we've progressed as a team. We've grown together closer as a team. I believe he's progressed as a fighter. So does he. But we need the results now. So obviously there is that bit of frustration that we have left no stone unturned and we've still fell short. So all of us have to up our game. You know, even when you win, you got to up your game. But we got to up our game. But we went to Big Bear for sparring with Gennady, and my reason for going to Big Bear, or suggestion and wanting us to take to Big Bear, was so that we could handle the emotions early. When you go through what George went through last time, there's going to be emotions attached to it. There ain't going to be a man that's going to stand up the next day and just think, all right, well, I'll forget all about that. There's going to be emotions attached to it, but it's how you deal with those emotions. Some people will implode and you won't hear from them again. And some people will suck it up and make the adjustments and get on with it. And that's George's type of character. He's going to get on with it. But we went out there and had some hard sparring so that those questions were asked early in camp. You know, so that he's in there in a fight situation, in a hard spar, with somebody who's renowned for taking people apart in Mr. Golovkin. And he performed well in every aspect of it, emotionally, mentally and technically. So I'm pleased with where he's at.
The reason I asked about how George was mentally, obviously the build-up to the last two fights were quite taxing and strenuous, just from the press conferences, the press situations. This time round, it hasn't been, because it's a different kind of fight. Obviously, there hasn't been that tension of the Froch thing, so that was the reason why I just asked about mentally. Is it, you know, I said, has he been obviously been more relaxed leading into this fight? Obviously, he would have been.
When you ask me about the mental aspect, the first one that pops up in my head is coming off the loss and the type of loss he come off. So that's where I'm on about the mental aspect of it. As far as the fact that this isn't as big a fight, Carl's next fight isn't going to be as big as the last fight. That was the biggest fight in British history. So unless you're going to top that in your next fight, it's going to be a come down. You know, the whole nation was on that last fight, whether they were a boxing fan or not. Everyone involved in that last fight is going to be in a come down in the next fight. So that's just part of the game, isn't it? Some fights are big, some fights aren't.
What did George say about the power of Golovkin?
Yeah, he said he can punch. Yeah, he said he can punch. But, you know, I think that if Gennady was asked, honestly, what's he think about George's power, I think he'd say, yeah, he can punch.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't like to take a body shot off either of them, to be honest, Paddy.
No.
I wouldn't want to take a body shot off you, to be honest.
Oh, you'd be alright off me.
We're at the workout here today, obviously. We've got the press conference Thursday, weigh-in Friday, Saturday fight night, so George can get back on track and let's say rebuild his career. I mean, there's no shame in losing to who he's lost to, so but George will want to put things right Saturday night and start that comeback trail towards a world title again.
It's been 12 months, isn't it? It's been over 12 months since we had a win. I know it's only been 2 fights. It's a long time. So that's the only focus for us is this weekend, is REBRASSE, because you know, he is in the way. He is in the way of everything. You can't afford to lose this one. This one isn't it's not a boxing event. It's not a sporting event. This is a fight.
In some ways, is this win on Saturday more important than 100%. If George had in his last 2 fights had if he'd won one of them?
Ah, well, no,
yeah, I know, but in a certain way, pressure-wise, because he was going into both of them fights, obviously, against Carl Froch, and maybe some could argue was the underdog going into the fight, but this is a must-win fight for him. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, it is a must-win, but it's only a must-win because he's come off the 2 losses, isn't it? So yes, this is a must-win fight. Personally, I don't care that it gets him a mandatory ranking. Personally, I don't care that it gets him a European title. because it doesn't matter if he was the type of dude that didn't want to step back into a big fight and wanted to get like a little 8-10 round or just to get himself back in his rhythm, and we were fighting a nobody for 10 rounds, it'd be still the biggest fight. He has to win this fight. This is everything this Saturday.
Alright, well listen Paddy, I'll let you get back to your work.
Yeah.
But how are you in general? Are you alright?
I'm really cool. All the better for seeing you.
Yeah? I think you mean that when you say that.
I do mean
a lot of people say that to me, it's good to see you, but really they're thinking,
no man, you put a smile on my face when I see you.
Big dark idiot staying here, man. What's he doing here?
You put a smile on my face when I see you, yeah man.
But you, I can feel that love. As soon as I come in, I can feel that love, Paddy.
Alright dude.
That's good. Now don't talk to any other media outlet.
I won't.
This is the only one here.
No one. You're my manager.
Cougan Cassius, Paddy Fitzpatrick, iFL TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Peace.